Welcome to the final game of a 7-game homestand from Busch Stadium. We hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. The Philadelphia Phillies and the Cardinals. Fans filing in a very warm afternoon in St. Louis. And we're glad you're with us. Rick Horton with Al Roboski. And Al, so far, the Phillies have been very, very tough on the Cardinals. They've figured out ways to score early, and the Cardinals' starting pitching has not quite been good enough.
Well, that's it. The starting pitching hasn't been quite good enough. Also, I think when you look at the bullpen, we've had our struggles there. Team ERA is almost 5.5, and it's not Howard, it's not Utley, it's Wigington and Hunter Pence from the offense, and then a shutout by Kendrick last night.
Cardinals will try to turn it around behind their ace, Adam Wainwright. We'll have more on the very talented right-hander who was emotional in his last outing. We'll have more on him when we come back.
And Adam's really feeling good about his game after his outstanding performance against the Padres. Had all of his secondary pitches working, but the big surprise was the high percentage of fastballs that he threw in his complete game shutout. Third of his career, 9th time he's had a complete game, and Adam Wainwright knows he'll have to be that good again today.
Kids cooling off at City Gardens, and he'll have to best Roy Halladay pitching for the Phillies. More on a Cardinal that hits him well after this. fit Roy Halladay very well. Halladay, however, can be a very tough customer, two-time Cy Young Award winner.
Just the fifth pitcher that has won the Cy Young in each league. But he's been roughed up a little bit of late. The Phillies actually have lost 6 of his last 7 starts. But we know he can be very, very tough. His last start was one of those bad ones as he gave up 5 earned runs and a couple home runs.
Halladay, an 8-time All-Star. We remember him pitching. Adam Wainwright. But last year's Game 5 of the NLDS was a pitching duel for the ages. For a look back at a piece of history, here's Pat Paris.
Sometimes, in the history of baseball, there are games that become much more than just a game. They don't come along often. Every 20 years. 50. Once in a lifetime. We saw just such a game last year. Philadelphia, having constructed one of baseball's most imposing starting rotations, stormed their way into the postseason with the game's best record. St. Louis, meanwhile, needed every one of their 90 wins to just barely steal the NL's final playoff spot. Scratching, clawing their way through one of the most historic September runs in baseball history. Not many expected the resilient Redbirds to keep pace with Philly's finest, but just like that, it was Game 5 of the divisional series. Fans flocked to see a pitching matchup for the ages. Chris Carpenter and Roy Halladay had known each other for a decade and a half, sharing minor league bus rides together 15 years ago. They had never faced each other until this deciding game. Halladay was great. Carpenter was better. Halladay painted an 8-inning, 6-hit, 1-run October masterpiece on baseball's biggest stage. Precisely the performance the future Hall of Famer was brought to Philadelphia to accomplish. But as spectacular as Halladay was on that night, Carpenter unleashed 9 innings of 3-hit shutout brilliance. An absolutely historic performance. Because that's what it took, and Carpenter would do no less. The result?
Ground ball to the right side. Punto has it.
and running over, and the Cardinals have done it.
A game to remember in baseball history.
By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. A warm Memorial Day Sunday at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are taking the field, a nice crowd on hand. Cardinals hoping to avoid a sweep here this afternoon. Here's the Phillies batting order here today. Jimmy Rollins, Juan Pierre, Hunter Pence are 1, 2, 3. Carlos Ruiz, a very hot hitter, bats cleanup. Shane Victorino, Hector Luna, the former Cardinal, Freddie Galvis, Mike Fontenot, and Roy Halladay. That's your lineup for the Phillies, and they'll face a guy out coming off his best start of the year, and that's Adam Wainwright.
No doubt about it. Adam had the 4-hit shutout against the Padres in his last start. He's pitched well against the Phillies in his career, but his last win against Philadelphia was back in '07. But hopefully he can repeat what he did on Tuesday and really kind of regain that prominence, as he was one of the best pitchers in baseball before Tommy John surgery.
Both clubs are missing some pieces here this weekend. Holliday, Schumacher, and Beltran for the Cardinals are in the outfield. Freeze for Carl Descalzo and Matt Adams on the infield. Molina back catching here this afternoon. Our Dobbs Cardinals defense, and Mike Matheny has had to find ways to rest some of his players. He rested for Call yesterday. Of course, the Cardinals are without Lance Berkman and many others, but Charlie Manuel dealing with the same problem.
No doubt about it. When you take Chase Utley and Ryan Howard out of the middle of his lineup, you can understand how they'd have to scratch and claw for runs. But they're a very good ball club on the road, and they've shown Cardinal fans that they're a handful without the big bats.
A bit of a Jekyll and Hyde homestand so far for the Cardinals. They swept the Padres, and now they've lost 3 straight to the Phillies, who've won 4 straight themselves. And the former most valuable player of the National League, that came in 2007, Jimmy Rollins, is set to lead it off. And we're underway. Temperatures close to 90 degrees and officially right at 90 degrees.
And slated to warm up as next few couple hours. Good cutter right there. So he missed with the fastball up, then a cutter in on the hands of Rollins, and a lot of fastballs.
This one popped up on the infield. Reed shields his eyes and makes the play, and again a cutter in on the hands.
I was still in California when he made that start on Tuesday, and understand that he really did get inside on a lot of the left-handed batters.
And there'll be 5 in the lineup this afternoon. 3 of them switch hitters, Rollins, Victorino, and Galvis, and a couple of lefties. And here's one of them, Juan Pierre, playing for his 6th team in the major leagues. And he is a handful, runs very well, and likes to bunt.
Infield hits.
And infield hits. They have to play him shallow in the infield, don't you?
They really do, and that opens up a lot of hitting lanes.
There's a few players in baseball, Al, that can bunt even when you think they're going to bunt, and it still works.
Oh, sure. If you can place it perfectly. Old Abner put those guys out there strategically to get people out, but sometimes you can hit through them.
Ball hit hard to center. Schumacher has his eye on it and catches it over his head. Out number 2.
And that's really what you want to do as a pitcher. You want to elevate the ball and have a guy like Juan Pierre hit the ball in the air. High percentage to be caught.
This is an aging Phillies team, and they went out and acquired Hunter Pence, who's just 28. So he's going to be part of this rebuilding process whenever that takes place. And there's kind of a mixed review, Al, as to whether or not the Phillies are in that stage of these players being too old or not. They have plenty of veteran players, and do they have enough to overtake the guys ahead of them in the National League East?
It is kind of a mix when you've had the success, 5 straight division championships for Charlie Manuel and the Phillies. You want to kind of keep that core together, but you do have to infuse some young players to keep it young enough.
Pence is a good one. Fouls that breaking pitch off.
Looks like Pence, as you say, came over from Houston. Galvis, their young second baseman, looks like a keeper.
The key is when you go young, you have to get good young players, not just young guys.
And sometimes those young players reinvigorate and rejuvenate some of the veteran guys. Cardinals can tell you about that.
Good fastball in on the hands of Pence. Good start for Adam Wainwright. For call, Schumacher and Holliday when we come back. First inning, Hope you're finding a way to stay cool here on this hot Sunday afternoon. Here's the Cardinals 9 this afternoon for Call, Schumacher, and Holliday, followed by Beltran, Freeze, Molina, Adams, Descalzo, and Adam Wainwright against one of the game's best, two-time Cy Young Award winner, Roy Halladay.
And he's 10 strikeouts away from 2,000 in his career. He's become the 5th active player with that. Kind of in a rough spell right now. He won his first 3 starts, and since that time he's 1-4 with an ERA of 4 3/4, and the Phillies are 1-6 in his last 7 starts.
Problem with him, Al, is he has just way too many weapons.
Well, they say he's gotten away from his fastball. He's been reluctant to throw it. And he's almost fallen in love with the cutter and been told instead of downward is kind of sliding across the plate, so it's staying on the same level plane. And also, you know, there he threw a fastball, but because he's gotten away from it, it's not as great a velocity. Curveball.
Also throws a split, and he's a guy that does not walk very many hitters.
13 walks.
Off the end of the bat, Halladay fields his position, 1 out. Phillies have the best defense right now in the National League. Pierre, Victorino, and Pence are in the outfield. Victorino and Pence trouble with the lights early in this series. Fontenot, Rollins, Galvis, and Luna on the infield. And Halladay and Ruiz, the battery. Dobbs, Phillies defense, and Hector Luna, who spent some time with the Cardinals in 2004, 5, and 6, gets the start at first base. He's become a bit of a utility guy.
And he kind of left a very good impression with his new ball club. His first plate appearance for the Philadelphia, hit a grand slam. The old-fashioned flip sunglasses. You can see he's got them flipped where he's not using them right now, but if a ball went up in the air, he could flip them down.
Hard hit to center. Skips Schumacher with a first inning hit off of Roy Halladay. Does that sound familiar?
He was 3 for 8. And also, I know what you're referencing. The classic first inning Halladay Carpenter matchup. There's the RBI double in the first inning and the NLDS. And that was all the scoring between two great friends and competitors. And the Cardinals win 1-0 behind the outstanding pitching of Chris Carpenter.
Such an outstanding game to watch, wasn't it? If you like pitching and baseball, a lot of decisions to be made throughout that game, but Halladay and Carp were just outstanding.
Well, Halladay went 8, only gave up that 1 run in the first, and because of the great pitching of Carpenter, it held up.
Halladay will give up his share of hits.
I made the reference, I think, on Thursday night that is a classic game that I enjoy versus the 10-9 game we saw Thursday night.
And I'm with you on that.
It's what, 19 runs were scored, 33 hits, 18 for Philadelphia, 15 for the Cardinals.
And some prefer offense.
Sure. I don't think they really enjoy the intricacies of a baseball if you enjoy that over a 1-0 game.
Halladay 0 for his last 8. Change that. Base hit to left. Halladay finds a hole. Cardinals with a couple runners aboard here in the first for Carlos Beltran.
Well, Skip Schumacher normally hits Halladay, but that for Matt Holliday, that's only his second hit, and now 7 plate appearances. Well, the Cardinals have something going here, first and second with only 1 out for Beltran, who also hits Halladay pretty well.
Did Halladay just get a hit off of Halladay on a Holiday?
Yeah, you got to be on a Holiday. Oh, very good, very good. The first 2 were tough enough for me to say, let alone 3.
Have to think about that one. I had to say it, Al.
I thought it was appropriate. I liked it. I just don't want to repeat it.
Beltran deep in the box, batting from the left side against Holliday. Out in front of that off-speed pitch.
See the curveball and a good one.
Ground ball to the right side, not hit very hard. Luna ranges and flips to Holliday. Runners advance to second and third for David Freese. Kind of a tricky play out when you've got a new first baseman that you haven't worked with very much.
That's right, and you see the firm wrist as he just underhands the ball to his pitcher covering.
And he followed it too.
Ideally, you'd like to maybe lead him a little bit more.
Probably hold your breath though if you're Charlie Manuel.
Probably. Worked in Clearwater, Florida during the spring.
David Freese has been swinging the bat very well after a couple of days off and a chance to get the Cardinals on the board here in the first. You just don't know how many opportunities you're going to have against Holliday. Al, you mentioned his rough outing against the Nationals in his last start where he gave up the 5 runs, but you're just not sure on any given day he may show up and be nasty.
And a trend with really good pitchers is you've got to get them early. Get them before they settle in. And as you say, that could be only the one scoring opportunity you get, so you have to capitalize on it.
Two-one. Now 3-1. Holliday, like the other Phillies starters, Blanton, Lee, and Hamels, all 4 of them in the top 10 in the National League in terms of allowing few walks per 9 innings. All of them under 2 walks per 9.
Rich Doobie really preaches first pitch strike.
And I think he's being careful with David Freese there. That loads the bases for Yadier Molina, who is 7 for his last 14. That's Schumacher at third, Holliday at second, David Freese at first, Molina at 316.
Their staff in general throws so many first pitch strikes, so you really have to be ready for the first pitch that you can, really drive.
And he tried to do just that. He's been hitting the ball at the middle very well of late. There's your set. Schumacher, Holliday, and Freese, the runners. Couple of hits and a walk. Molina and Holliday. Early chance for St. Louis. The 0-1. Hit hard into center field. Victorino is back. He's drifting to the track, to the wall. And this ball is gone. Grand slam, Molina. How about that?
Third career grand slam. We saw the first one opening day, I'm going to say last year in Cincinnati. Crowd wants a curtain call. Now they get it. Just had enough to get over the wall.
Perfect start for St. Louis here in the first inning. A nice inning for Wainwright, 1-2-3, and they strike against Holliday. Yadier Molina now with 28 RBIs on the season. And there's a line drive hit into the right field corner for Matt Adams. This is going to be a double. And the Cardinals aren't through yet here in the first. Their 4th hit of the inning. And what a thrill for Matt Adams getting a hit against Roy Halladay.
Well, especially first player from Slippery Rock to make the big leagues. So here's the pitch to Yadier Molina. Looked like another cutter, and just gets enough right into the shrubbery, the planted area right in front of the first row.
Cardinals swinging against Halladay, who's already at a pitch count into the mid-20s. Next pitch will be number 26 for him, so they're making him work hard here in the first.
And a day like this with the high heat, you don't want to be out there that long.
Ruiz gives chase and makes the play, but the Cardinals strike first, and they strike big. Yadier Molina goes down and gets it. 4-0 St. Louis. Have played very well within the division now at 17-12, not quite as well outside.
You must win in your division, but what was alarming about the East there is they won opening day in Miami, and then they've lost 6 straight against the National League East. And with going to Atlanta, who swept us here at home, and then our first look at the Mets for 4 before returning to the Central Division and playing Houston on this next road trip. Cardinals need to start winning against the East.
10-game road trip begins tomorrow. The Cardinals finishing out the homestand here, and a good start thanks to Yadier Molina.
And with all the problems they've had in the Phillies series, because they swept a 3-game set against the Padres, you could still have a 4-3 homestand.
5th career grand slam that Roy Halladay has allowed, and the 2nd one this season.
You got to, Halladay didn't allow a home run in the first 40 innings pitched, but since that time he's allowed 6. You got 2 catchers right here that are having terrific offensive seasons, and they're pretty good defensively on top of them.
Hard hit to right. Ruiz hits this one off the right center field ball. Beltran runs it down, but a stand-up double for Carlos Ruiz, who just keeps on raking.
Charlie Manuel told both of us everything he hits falls in, but he's hit a few balls like that right on the nose and driving the ball on top of it.
Just a career 265 hitter, Al, but this year now over 360, second in the National League in batting. He's also shown some pop. 7 homers.
7 home runs. He had 6 all last season, and his career high in home runs is 9. So with the absence of Howard and Utley, he has really carried this team.
Players like to call that stepping up. Talking about a guy out. He's 33 and a career 260 hitter who's just caught on fire and figured something out. He's a runner at second. Shane Victorino.
Mentioned a emotional victory for Wainwright in his last start, where he had his 3rd career shutout.
Fly ball to right. Ruiz is tagging. Beltran has a strong arm, but he's not going to test Ruiz, who tags up easily and advances to 3rd. Smart base running for Ruiz, and he got a little help from Juan Samuel, the 3rd base coach.
So you can see he sees it's a fly ball. He thinks about it, gets the okay from Samuel. Should I come? And I'm sure Juan Samuel, who was a very good player in his own right, saw that he was about 1 step in front of the warning track, and even with a good arm, you know, you should be able to advance 90 feet on that ball. So stay under control. Don't trip yourself, fall down. More likely be safe.
Samuel was an outstanding player.
Oh, yeah.
Free swinger. Run like a deer. Hector Luna.
7 games, but Hector mentioned his first plate appearance for Philadelphia was a grand slam.
Bounced around a bit after being a Cardinal. Last year with the Red Sox in AAA all season long, where he had 14 home runs.
Grand slam was the 21st pinch grand slam in Phillies history, and became it was the first on the first at bat since an old friend of mine, Gene Freeze, who did it April 18th, 1959. That was also a pinch hit grand slam.
Wainwright would like to strike out here. The 1-2. Curveball. Check swing, bounce foul. Cardinals with the infield back. They're conceding a run here.
Conceding a run, but Adam Wainwright now is in a position to say, I'm not. And he's got 2 strikes, controlling the count, and I'm sure Adam, the competitor he is saying, I'm not going to let this run score. Good pitch right there when you're ahead in the count. You didn't want the inside pitch that Molina called. Then he threw the ball up and away and tried to get Luna to chase. Ball to either get the strikeout or a pop-up.
Curveball, 1 hop to short. They're going to come home with it. Molina tags out Ruiz at the plate. Heads up play by Rafael Furcal. That ball was hit hard enough. Even though they had the infield back, I don't know if Ruiz thought that ball would be coming home.
I'm sure he did. You know, he's probably been told, hey, they're back. You see a little hesitation as it was a 1-hopper, and then you see that very good throwing arm still by Furcal. Look how casual. So he sits there. Now he saw it was going to short, but most of the time you have to get an out. So the sure out's going to be to first base. But with that very strong arm, and you see kind of casual by Molina, not trying to sell it, but he did put that left foot blocking the slide from Ruiz.
Ruiz had a chance to pay Molina back.
I was thinking about that too.
We saw that early in this series where Molina laid out Ruiz, and we could have seen the same thing there, but they were very respectful to each other after that happened. as they should be. Just hard baseball. So Wainwright gets a break, facing Freddie Galvis with 2 outs and Luna aboard. Galvis has played in every game for the Phillies. They sure do miss Chase Utley.
244, 3 home runs, 23 RBIs, played very good defense.
Ground ball to the right side. Adams leaves the first base area, so Wainwright has to cover. Wainwright pitches out of it. Celebrating with a summer savings 2-day ticket sale. Now through tomorrow night only, you can purchase pavilion level tickets to select summer games, including 3 weekend games and the 4th of July for just $15. Get your summer savings tickets now at cardinals.com/summer. Yadier Molina fan, very happy. His grand slam in the first inning, the difference in this game. Roy Halladay back to work here in the Cardinals' second, facing Wainwright, Furcal, and Schumacher.
1 for 20 this season, but overall, Adam Wainwright's a very good athlete and a good hitter. .212 career average with 5 home runs.
Slow roller to short. Memorial weekend. Hope you're enjoying it. Perfect day for hot dogs, grilling out, and of course there's a sober reminder with this Memorial weekend to remember those who served us in the past, and we certainly want to do that. Throughout baseball, Al, they're making an effort to remember the 2 major league players who were both killed in action in World War II. Elmer Gedeon and Harry O'Neill are the 2 major league players who lost their lives in France, and O'Neill in Iwo Jima.
I'm trying to remember, and I spoke at the 238th birthday for the Navy and also for the Army about the several hundred different players that participated in World War II. Left baseball to join the ranks. We can't thank all the veterans enough.
Ground ball to second. Galvis retires for a call.
First day and the only opportunity the Cardinals will have today.
It's possible. Schumacher has hit Holliday well.
Now 4 for 9 against Roy.
Phillies have taken it to the Cardinals so far in this series. Another ground ball. Rollins again. Easy inning for Roy Halladay. Coverage of the Cardinals with MLB.com @Bat 12 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Warm afternoon, the ball carrying here at Busch Stadium. It's hot and humid. And as you would expect, the ball carries well on days like that. Slight breeze blowing out. And Yadier Molina has already tested that with a grand slam in the first. Wainwright working here in the third. Base hit to right, Mike Fontenot. And we're joined here in the third inning, Jim Hayes, who has a report in the latest news on the injury front for the Cardinals.
Is heading to Florida today to the Cardinals complex in Jupiter to continue rehabbing his injured right shoulder. He'll take BP for the first time tomorrow. He says by going to Jupiter, he'll have more flexibility to step things up. He's eligible to come off the DL on Wednesday. He says he'll probably need a week. Alan Craig, by the way, eligible to come off the DL on Friday. Mike Matheny saying today he feels like Craig is ready to go, guys.
And not only are they ready to go, but Halladay is out of this game. They had a reliever warming up to start this inning, so you'd have to believe that Roy, there's something not quite right with him, and Pete Moore is going to pinch hit for Halladay.
So we'll give you an update on Roy Halladay, who just retired 3 straight Cardinals, walked off the mound, and then he's out of this game. Charlie Manuel has dealt with injuries quite a bit this season, and he is holding his breath on this one. So Fontenot is the runner at first base. Pete Orr, the pinch hitter for Halladay. And a bunt attempt in front of the plate. Molina throws out Orr. That's curious.
Yeah. Could have left Halladay to do that, or bring in another pitcher just to sacrifice. And sometimes you got to question that strategy when you got the Platinum Glove winner, the only Platinum Glove winner, because that's an award, the best of the best Gold Glove winners, and that's Molina. Why you drop down a bunt?
Down by 4.
Down by 4. You don't give up an out.
Well, Charlie Manuel's been in this game for 50 years. This is his 50th in pro ball. So
8.
I would say he's probably got a few good reasons for that.
But I'm just wondering if Ward did that on his own.
May have.
Where's Charlie? Very offensive minded. He's been a hitting coach and a good one.
Free hopper. Handled by Descalzo. Wainwright had Jimmy Rollins off balance. Just the 3rd time in the career of Roy Halladay that he has gone 2 innings or less in a start. And we'll keep you posted if we hear news on Halladay and his condition. Check swing did not go, says Sam Holbrook, the third base umpire. Juan Pierre flew out in the first.
Pierre put so much pressure on the defense with his speed.
He is 34 years of age, but he still runs well.
Yeah, 3-time stolen base champion. 2nd most infield hits.
Bunt hits last year, led the American League. You just have to continue to protect against that. Even in this situation, RBI spots, could drag one. Gets out of the box very well from the left side. Don't really see the drag bunt quite as much anymore, where you bunt the ball to the second baseman, try to get it past the pitcher. Kind of an old school move, Al. I just don't see as much.
I think part of it, you know, you went through an era where home run was so prevalent.
Base hit and an RBI for Pierre, and it's 4-1.
Talked about how you're not afraid to elevate the ball on Juan Pierre. You actually want him to hit the ball in the air, but there when he can get the ball middle of the plate to where he just slaps down on it, I'll show you why he's been in big leaguer for so many years.
Six for 8 in stolen bases this year and a big lead. Not going. And he's forced at second base. Matt Holliday, when we come back, Cardinals with an early lead, 4-1. Sports Midwest is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. 4-1 Cardinals, bottom of the third inning. Yadier Molina the difference. Grand slam in the first inning off of Roy Halladay, who has exited this game in the early going. And our Mid-America Chevy dealers called with the bullpen is the left-hander, former #1 round draft choice, Joe Savory.
He's started out the season. He's been up and down 3 times. Started out the season with the big club, and over his first 5 games had a 1.42 ERA. Then you take his last 4 appearances for the Phils, ERA over 7.25. Very tough on left-handed batters.
Nice look at Busch Stadium, home of the world champion St. Louis Cardinals, defending their title in 2012 and trying to avoid a sweep here this afternoon. Savory pumps in strike 1 to Matt Holliday. Holliday singled and scored in the first, breaking an 0 for 8. Another hard hit. Single to left for Matt Holliday. He's now 2 for 2. And that's how he greets the new pitcher, Joe Savory.
A breaking ball. Goes down and just hooks it. And when the ball comes off his bat, the velocity is so much higher than any other Cardinal.
No doubt. Carlos Beltran takes strike 1. Beltran bounced out. And a very nice season for Beltran. Leads the National League with 14 homers, second in the league with his 38 RBIs. And this could be a double play. 6, 4, and 3. As that throw pulled Luna off the bag, but he just managed to keep his toe on to double up Beltran. The Cardinals and the Phillies, top 2 teams in the National League at turning double plays.
Did he keep it on or did he not?
David Freese walked and scored in front of the homer to Molina in the Cardinal first inning. David has 10 homers of his own this year and has really regained his timing more than anything else, Al.
The Cardinals have 3 hitters with 10 or more home runs. And Holliday, Beltran, and Freese, they all have at least 32 RBIs.
One and 2 to Freese. Joe Savory from Rice University. 19th pick of the draft in 2007. Mostly a starter in his minor league time with the Phillies. Now getting a chance out of the bullpen. And a fastball on the inside corner. Freese not sure about it. Wainwright back to work.
you're sure to get fresh ground beef without any preservatives. As a matter of fact, you can look at the label on the package of Schnucks store ground beef to see what time it was grounded and packaged. Most Schnucks stores grind beef several times throughout the day. Other stores have prepackaged preserved ground beef. So when you want really fresh ground beef, stop by Schnucks. Shop today and experience the Schnucks difference.
Cardinal fans enjoying their day here at the ballpark. They're enjoying a 4-1 Cardinal lead, and so is Adam Wainwright, looking to win back-to-back starts. We've told you about how good he was in his last outing. Shutout against the Padres, and a good start so far, giving up just 1 run on 3 hits to the Phillies. Face Ruiz, Victorino, and Luna here in the 4th. Cutter misses low.
That's a good sign. Earlier times when he struggled, that cutter was just spinning. Really didn't do much. That one backed up a little bit. You can see mannerisms on the mound and all determination.
Got behind on Ruiz in the 2nd inning, and Carlos hit the ball off the right center field wall. Behind in the count here, 2-1. Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinal pitching coach, doesn't miss much. Watching every pitch, offering his suggestions at the right time. Think about how many pitches he watches over the course of a season now, starting in spring training, and start to really get a feel for each pitcher and what they do well and what they need to do to succeed.
Because one of his previous jobs at the Cardinal organization was the rehab coordinator. So when somebody had experienced surgery, or in the case of Matt Wainwright with Tommy John, is very understanding of the process that you have to go through.
Freeze throws out Carlos Ruiz. Glad you're with us. Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Cardinals leading the Phillies 4-1 on a warm Memorial Day celebration here today. Rick Horton with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes. And we're glad you're with us. Molina, a grand slam in the 1st. Roy Halladay, 2 innings, and he has exited this game. And waiting on the official word as to the status of Roy Halladay, who has been relieved by Joe Savory, the left-hander. Wainwright has been very good so far. There's that look you were talking about with Wainwright.
Oh, yeah.
Stalking the mound is what he calls it. That pitch hits Victorino. It may have just hit his jersey, but that counts. So he's aboard. Wainwright has 1 strikeout, has not walked a batter, and now faces Hector Luna, 32-year-old utility player for Charlie Manuel. And Victorino, another threat to run. Molina has thrown out, Al, 8 of 22 runners this year. That percentage a little lower than his norm. It's at 36%. He's been higher than that. But teams just don't normally like to run against the Cardinals.
And a lot of times when they've been successful, it's definitely off the pitcher, not giving the Gold Glover a chance to throw people out.
Philly's very smart about running too. They're
high percentage,
35 out of 42, which is very high. If you look across all of baseball, they've only been thrown out those 7 times. Ground ball, backhanded but foul. Victorino is up among the league leaders. He has 13 stolen bases, but you're trailing 4-1. I guess you have to think about the right spot to go. But if you're 13 out of 15, I'm thinking it's a possibility.
Most of the time you steal off the pitcher. Wainwright 6'6", but a very good athlete, so he has quick feet.
Big lead. Not going.
Adam just varying his looks, the time that he comes to the set, and before he goes home, take a little life and spring out of the legs of a base stealer. Sometimes that hitter also becomes uncomfortable, and he'll call timeout if you wait too long.
One and two to Luna. Curveball, swing and a miss. Big breaking curveball from Adam Wainwright is his second strikeout of the afternoon. If you have a question for us, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email to booth questions and try to get to your question here this afternoon. Really appreciate those questions throughout the year, and there's some really good ones. Freddie Galvis, switch hitter, batting left against Wainwright. Makes a curveball, ball one. Galvis getting a chance here because of the injury to Chase Utley that we've talked about, Al. Just a .246 minor league career hitter. He's just blooming all of a sudden. He's 22 years of age, but they see something in him that they like, and he leads rookies with the 23 RBIs you talked about earlier. What a play by Furcal, diving in the hole to take a hit away from Galvis. Cardinals flashing the leather here in the 4th inning. The sweet hands of Rafael Furcal. Cardinals, bottom of the 4th inning. Yadier Molina will lead it off here in the 4th, but his grand slam in the 1st, Al, is the difference.
Just had enough right over the home run line into the shrubbery. Curtain call. And you talked about it. Look at the numbers by these two very good catchers, defensively and offensively, and they're pretty much putting on a show.
Been talking a lot about Ruiz's offense, but he has been catching better as well, throwing out more runners. So they have been the story. Of course, the biggest piece of the story is that the Cardinals haven't won a game yet. They're trying to avoid the sweep here today. They've fallen a game and a half behind the Cincinnati Reds, who are leading Colorado in the 8th inning, 7-5. Latos and Moyer are the starters in that game. Molina, his first at bat against Joe Savory.
Is second among National League catchers with home runs and RBIs.
I like the way he's been driving the ball up the middle of late, hitting the ball hard.
To me, that's a very good sign, and that's something that really that Mark McGwire preaches. You don't want to always be pulling the ball.
Well, he pulls this one and still gets a base hit. Out in front of it a bit, but he found a hold. Molina's 2 for 2. Fox Sports Midwest presents Girls on the Run Day at Busch Stadium on July 8th. Buy your tickets at girlsontherun.org before June 8th for a chance to win a visit to the field or to the broadcast booth. Help support a great program for area girls and enjoy a Cardinals game as well. girlsontherun.org. Matt Adams doubled off of Roy Halladay in the first. Cardinals had 4 hits in that inning. Adams now up to 346 in a short time here in St. Louis. He was hitting almost that high at 340 in AAA and pounding the baseball.
Still looking for his first career home run.
Short, quick stroke of Matt Adams. He's had a couple of good at-bats against left-handers, too. And he's a guy that I think you're going to see play against lefties and righties.
When you get Alan Craig back, you know, you might have that option to, because you want to get Craig's potent bat in there, but you know, maybe that's when you send Adams back because you want him to play every day.
There's a long fly ball to center field. It's deep to the track. Victorino makes the play up against the wall, and he is going to double up Yadier Molina, who is currently standing at third.
Okay.
So Matt Adams almost with his first major league home run. Nice play by Victorino up against the wall.
Well, you can see that leaps, crashes into the wall, holds on to it. Yachty just takes off. If it's a home run, you're going to score. So I don't know where he's going other than back to the dugout.
So a double play the hard way. And strike one, a high strike to Daniel Descalso, who popped up in the first inning. Good swing there. Descalso has quick hands too, Al, and we saw him hit some pretty good fastballs last year, and he's been late a bit this year, trying to get his timing down. It kind of comes and goes.
It just wasn't there at spring training as consistent as you say, and then you kind of start battling, start looking at your 213 batting average. You kind of feel like you should be hitting better than that.
Scalzo would be one of those guys, and you and I could probably come up with a list of about 20 people who would not be like this. But when you're going to have a guy on your team that's struggling, the attitude of a Daniel Descalzo is never going to bother you, because he's just that kind of guy. I mean, there's some guys when they struggle, you just don't even want them around.
And when I talk to Mark McGuire and Berkman, you know, but
there's a hit in the gap. And Victorino runs it down. Descalzo's going to try for two. Close play there. Double Descalzo.
But they were telling me that we were talking about Matt Adams. They said, well, we got a bunch of talking about the young prospect. We've got a bunch of Daniel Descalzos. And what they meant was fundamentally a very sound player, a good teammate, a guy that knows how to play the game. You can always, you know, you don't have to out there teach him everything. But then they were describing, there's a lot of good young ball players, but then there was potentially a star, and that was Matt Adams.
And that teammate thing really does make a difference, Al, because there's a lot of time where your weakest link becomes the problem you talk about all the time and can become a distraction, but the Cardinals just don't seem to have players like that. Adam Wainwright, chance for an RBI to help himself out. Late on that fastball.
The ball that Descalzo hit, if Molina would have played it safe on Adams's ball, the Cardinals might have another run to work with for Adam.
Instead, there are 2 outs and Descalzo aboard at second for Wainwright, who bounced out in the second. He has reverted back to his old batting style. Started the season with his bat resting on his shoulder. He was trying to work at a different stance to be able to reach a pitch that he couldn't hit. Didn't feel like he could hit as well, but he's reverted back to that style that got that over 200 career average. Couldn't get that one. Strikeout number 2 for Savory. We are through 4 in St. Louis. Pet Bowl for your furry friend. Compliments of Nestle Purina. They'll be available to 25,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com. Mike Matheny likes what he sees so far this afternoon. He had his ball club come to the ballpark, Al, at 10:30 today, which is almost unheard of in baseball now, to let players kind of come in late. Felt like they may have needed a little bit of a break mentally and physically with the heat here in St. Louis, and kind of re-energize themselves. And with the flight later today and the 10-game road trip ahead, so far the Cardinal players have responded.
Well, the Cardinals had numerous off days in April and only one off day. Well, two if you count the 31st. Only two in May.
Fox Sports Midwest is joining up with the Mission Continues on veteran-led service projects again this year. You can help in Cape Girardeau on the 9th of June. Donate a few hours of your time. You get to meet my partner here today, Al Raboski, and you can help renovate a ball field for area youth. Reserve your spot online at missioncontinues.org. You'll be glad you did. Joe Savory, his first plate appearance since taking over for Roy Halladay. I'm guessing he was not thinking he'd be getting in an at-bat in the fourth inning of this game when he got to the ballpark today.
I would think you're absolutely right. You got one of your big aces on the mound. You have a better chance of thinking you're going to have an off day than thinking you're going to have hit.
You know, relievers would have to be careful about that when you come to the park and let's say Gibson or John Tudor in his heyday or Bob Forsch, and you get to the park and you'd say, well, I'm not going to pitch today. There's no way. And then on that off day when something happens to them and you find yourself in the game, there are times where you're surprised.
Well, my first year, you know, when I got called up 1970, and Billy Muffett, the pitching coach, told me, he said, if you don't throw by the fifth inning, you know, you need to get a little toss in the bullpen. So after the fifth inning, I told the bullpen catcher, not even a coach, I told him, I said, well, Muff wants me to warm up, and he proceeded to announce to all the guys in the bullpen, plus 4 or 5 rows of Cub fans, look at the Rook. He wants to get on the mound when Gibson's pitching. Didn't know that we weren't supposed to do that. Might have been a good warning for Bob. Don't mess up. I'm warming up.
Be careful how you warn that guy, though. Do it gently, Al. Hard hit past a diving Matt Adams and into the corner. Jimmy Rollins with his first hit. 2-out double. And we've gotten word on the condition of Roy Halladay, and the announcement is that he had a right shoulder soreness that crept up during his start here today, and that's what got him pulled from this game. And here's a look at that pitch from Wainwright.
Pulls it right down the line. Good effort by Adams, but he's off the line, and it stays fair and down into the corner for a double. Fourth hit for the Phillies. 2 singles, 2 doubles.
Juan Pierre has a single and an RBI for the Phillies. Waves at that pitch, and not a good swing for Pierre.
Good pitch for Adam. As another cutter that he stays on top of. Trying to repeat it. This time he doesn't swing. Remember, he's just trying to chop down on the ball and just take off running.
Ground ball, and it's fair. And Adams has it. And that retires Juan Pierre. Top of the order. kids ages 15 and younger entering with a ticket will receive a collectible pennant highlighting the Cardinals' new manager, Mike Matheny, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Pasta House. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cardinals.com. Warm afternoon in St. Louis. Adam Wainwright trying his best to stay cool. 1 run on 4 hits through 5 innings of work for Wainwright following a complete game shutout.
Some guys hydrate better than others. Some use different methods to hydrate.
Am I supposed to follow up on that?
Oh, yeah, you should.
You going to write me a note on that, or you're going to talk about it on the air?
I better write you a note.
And a happy Memorial Day to you, too, Al.
It wasn't uncommon, particularly when the old stadium, when they had the turf, that a starting pitcher would lose 12 pounds in one afternoon.
Certainly been humid in St. Louis this weekend. Game time temperatures right at 90 degrees. And maybe a little more disconcerting when you think about the shoulder soreness of Roy Halladay. Certainly didn't have any trouble getting loose today.
No, Chad Qualls is finding that it is warm. When you start moving around, perspire freely.
Leadoff walk to Furcal, who's aboard for the first time. Third inning of work for Joe Savory. We mentioned in game 1 of this series that the Phillies have a heavy, dominant left-handed pitching staff. They have 4 lefties in their bullpen, including Savory, and a couple of lefty starters. We're not seeing Cole Hamels in this series. And the Phillies didn't see Lance Lynn. Both those guys leading the National League in wins at 7. Bunt attempt, foul. Ruiz throws it the second anyway.
Practice, and more importantly, is don't wait to hear what the umpire says. Just go ahead and execute the play.
We've seen a couple of moves from Savory so far. Works from the third base side of the rubber. For Call 8 for 10 and stolen bases so far this year. Not going.
See, he works from the third base side of the rubber, but then he steps right towards the hitter, as most left-handers throw across their body. You throw across your body?
I did.
I did too.
Not exactly sure why that is, Al, but it is true about left-handers.
Yeah. Which means it's a little easier to get inside to a left-handed batter, but not much tougher to get to inside to a right-handed batter. And one of the real keys to pitching is, can you throw successfully to your glove side?
So it makes Cliff Lee so good.
And the guys that are left-handed that can pitch really get in on right-handed batters, and not leave that ball middle half in.
One-two to Schumacher. Now 2-2.
From this center field camera, you can really see how we're talking about throwing across his body. See how he kind of throws it right at the batter, kind of steps that way and throws the pitch. You almost have to exaggerate to get the ball away.
Line drive to left center field, and it's down. Pierre runs it down in the gap. Schumacher thinks about two, but manages a single to left center, advancing for call to third. We are at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals and the Phillies, final game of a 4-game series. Phillies looking for a sweep here today, a warm Memorial Sunday. Rick Horton, Al Hrabosky, and Jim Hayes, and Charlie Manuel makes the trip to the mound, and he has a right-hander ready, and he calls for Chad Qualls, and that'll be it for Joe Savory. Cardinals trying to tack on here in the home half of the fifth. Friends at Budweiser. Tomorrow the Cardinals begin a 10-game road trip. They'll play the Braves in game one there. Lance Lynn looking for his league-leading 8th victory against Tommy Hanson. Coverage begins at 11:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Veteran Chad Qualls is our Mid-America Chevy dealer's call to the bullpen.
Chad Qualls pitched an awful lot of games, made the most appearances among major league relievers over the last 8 seasons. Got off to a great start as he allowed 3 hits in the first 21 batters he faced. But since that time, 18 hits and 48 at bats for a .375 average. Last 11 games, he's got a 7 ERA, but he pitched well in this series against the Cardinals.
With Arizona, they used him quite a bit as a closer in his 3 seasons there. Picked up 45 of his 51 career saves with Arizona. We remember him most for his time with Houston. Facing Holliday here. Strike one.
Holliday on a holiday.
That's right. See, I messed myself up.
Yes, you did. Get tricky now.
3 for 9 in his career against Qualls. And Holliday has hit the ball hard here this afternoon. He's had a good May. Line drive caught by Fontenot.
Fontenot's not that tall, and he used every bit of his, what, about 5'6", 5'7" frame to get up there. And I'm sure Matt feels like he can't buy a hit. Looking for hit number 3 today, and he can't believe it as Fontenot got up there and made the play.
Carlos Beltran bounced out twice. Runners at first and third for St. Louis. This ball is hit deep to right. Back goes Pence. This ball is way out of here. Home run And it's 7-1 Cardinals.
And Beltran had zero success against Qualls. He was 1 for 12 before that 3-run shot. And the gauntlet. Or you call it the receiving line.
Call it whatever you want. It's a bunch of happy Cardinals. Somebody referred to it as the happy line. I had that suggestion on Twitter that maybe we should call it the happy line.
No wonder I don't like Twitter.
I thought that was pretty good.
Happy line. It's going to be a little more.
But like happy flight, you know.
Happy flight is good. We like happy flight. And this flight of the ball, there was no doubt about it. He was 1 for 12 against Qualls before that blast.
Cardinals have certainly taken advantage of their opportunities here this afternoon. 7 runs on 9 hits. And the long ball again playing a big factor for St. Louis.
Lead the National League with 62 home runs.
Strikeout of David Freese. He's now struck out twice. There's the pitch location to Beltran.
Down and in, and he knows what to do with it. Cardinals lead the National League in runs scored. Now at 250. Leading home runs, batting average.
Cardinals have scored 7 runs on 2 swings of the bat.
But Beltran now has 41 RBIs. You see the National League leaders, but he's got a ways to go to catch Hamilton, doesn't he?
Right,
Josh Hamilton, 20 home runs already and 53 RBIs. And also a not too bad 376 batting average. Good for second place.
In another game winner. Texas playing well. Both leaders in the Western Division, both leagues. The Dodgers and Texas off to really good fast starts. Central Division's about the same. The teams in the East now, there is not one team in the East, either in the National or the American League, that is playing under 500 right now.
And with the 3 more RBIs, he ties Ethier from Los Angeles with 41 to lead the National League. Something in Yachty's eyes. Greg Houck, the head trainer, take a look at it. On his eyes, maybe just feeling a little dizzy or lightheaded. Looks like he's through. He left a mark in this game.
He sure did. You can imagine with the heat, and we don't want to speculate, but Yachty at the plate, something just didn't seem right, and Greg Houck and Mike Matheny out to talk to Yadier Molina. There's Yachty.
Just can't get comfortable, can he? Tony Cruz will get a shot. Obviously, stay in the game to catch.
We'll give you word on Molina as soon as we get it, but you would assume that there would be a heat-related issue here. It is very warm here this afternoon, humid.
Tony will inherit a 2-1 count.
There's a look at the heat. Everybody fanning themselves here with all-star ballots.
And hydrating themselves, but I don't think that would be totally recommended.
Proper hydration would be. I know what you mean by hydration, Al. Umpires also need to be sure they stay hydrated throughout the course of the game. You notice that Bat Boys will be bringing them out water from time to time. And the guy you always worry about in games like this, the home plate umpire. they get the toughest assignment.
I can honestly say I never worried about it.
I guess you probably didn't. Very nice empathy at work there, Al.
Thank you.
Cruz is thrown out. Beltran. Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. Seven to 1 Cardinals. They have outslugged the Phillies here this afternoon. Yadier Molina a grand slam and Carlos Beltran a 3-run shot. And we are honoring folks here on Memorial Day celebration this Sunday.
Adam Wainwright, 66 pitches, and he looks like he just wants to keep on going.
Tony Cruz now behind the plate. Yadier Molina taken out of the game in the bottom of the 5th inning as he was standing at the plate. Looked like he may have felt dizzy. Kind of asked for Greg Houck to come out. Talked a bit with Mike Matheny and Greg, and Cruz finished his at-bat for him, and we're awaiting word on Yachty. Hunter Pence leads it off for Philadelphia here in the 6th. Curveball hit hard and fair and into the corner. There was a time when Hunter Pence could not hit a curveball.
Well, he always would chase pitches, but there's a hanger. As that ball ended up belt high, you want it to be below the knees and preferably out away.
Pence just a good player, Al. 2-time All-Star. Carlos Ruiz hoping to be an All-Star this year. Having a big season, 364, and he takes strike 1 from Waino.
Pretty hard to deny him, wouldn't it?
I would say so. Pitch number 70 from Wainwright.
Yadier Molina has tied Ruiz with home runs at 7. He hit his grand slam in the 1st inning, so he's got 28 RBIs to Ruiz's 29. And you can see how productive he's been with runners in scoring position. Well, he's gotten all those RBIs, but came in 2nd in the National League in hitting.
There was some thought with the collision that Ruiz and Molina had that maybe there was a reason why Ruiz had the off day, and Charlie Manuel said it was not any physical problem. But there is, I found out from Mike Matheny this morning, a 7-day DL this year for the first time for concussion-related, collision-related injuries. There's a play at third, and he nails it. The ball gets away from Tony Cruz, and he finds it quickly and throws out Hunter Pence. Oh, my.
Tony has really handled himself quite well. And that ball didn't get away too far. And look at there, just a perfect throw. Freese has the glove right down, waiting for Pence to slide into it. Tony last year, you know, he played in 38 ball games in about 5 different positions and never made an error.
I like the 7-day DL in case of collisions, and I think baseball, really all sports, trying to be very protective about head injuries. But no problem for Ruiz or Molina after that collision the other night. They were just getting their scheduled off day. Tough play for Freese, off balance. He doesn't get it. Infield hit for Ruiz. Mike Matheny knows a little bit about concussions.
See right here, the Phillies 2 games over 500, and they're in last place, 5th place. Moved still in last place. And then the Cardinals are second, a game and a half back with 3 games over 500. So a little more parity in the National League East, and I'd probably say the West also.
Mentioned the Cardinals, who will be playing Atlanta, then New York, then Houston on this road trip. So 7 games after today against the East, and the Cardinals just 1-6 so far in the East.
Lost 6 straight because they won the opening day series, 1 game at Miami.
And speaking of teams struggling, the Cubs have lost 11 straight, and they trail the Pirates 9-0 this afternoon. Dale Swain has his hands full.
The boy wonders from Boston have their hands full trying to turn the Cubs around.
Colorado's bounced back a bit on Cincinnati. They're hitting in the top of the 9th, trailing by 2. Ruiz at first. Victorino the hitter. 3-1. Grounded foul.
Cardinals need to win this game to match their road record, 13-11.
Hunter Pence may have run the Phillies out of an opportunity for a big inning here. Led this inning off with a double.
You just can't make that first out at third base. When you're trailing by 6 runs, you're already in scoring position. And you got your best hitter statistically, you know, at the plate. You just can't go over there unless you can walk over there standing up.
Fly ball to shallow center. In comes Schumacher. He calls for it. Shields the sun a bit. After Pence was thrown out at third, an infield hit for Carlos Ruiz.
See Freese come in there. It's really on 2 fingers, so he kind of has to regroup. A ball player can kind of just almost let the ball slide down to your fingertips, catch it in the palm, and and then you automatically, instinctively come up with that four-seam grip, so you throw a ball over to first base where it doesn't sail.
Hector Luna. 2 outs in the Phillies' 6th.
Sure, Ricky. Play catch. You know, I used to take a baseball and just throw it up and down, you know, in the air, laying on the bed in the hotel room, and just every time I caught it, I had my grip.
Just an instinct.
Yeah.
Develops over time. And really all players on the field will do that. Any outfielder, they always get that four-seam grip. Fingertips on the seam, across the horseshoe. And again, the goal is to not throw a sailor, because everybody on that field other than the pitcher wants to throw the ball straight.
At least you hope they do. They're on your team.
Right. Adam Wainwright, so emotional after that complete game shutout. And his interview with Danny Mack after the game was just outstanding, just showing really his heart on his sleeve. Base hit for Luna. Ruiz is going to try for third, and he'll be safe there as the throw comes into second base.
Ruiz, he sees the ball in front of him. He's down the line. Got a 7-1 lead. Decides to go over there. And the throw coming to second. He had nothing to worry about.
So the Phillies have 3 hits in their 4 batters here in this inning, yet they have not scored. And Wainwright still 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning without allowing a tally. And that's Freddie Galvis at the plate. Curveball, and it's a beauty. Galvis 5'10", 170 from Venezuela.
I believe he's 5'10".
Nope. I believe he's from Venezuela.
Yes, me too.
Ground ball to the right side again. Adams leaves his post. The tough play is handled by Wainwright. Play scored 4-1. More importantly, another 0 for Wainwright. Verse reverse recap. Yadier Molina, grand slam in the first inning. He left the game with dehydration. Roy Halladay also left the game with a sore shoulder after 2 innings of work. He gave up that grand slam, and Carlos Beltran adding a 3-run shot in the 5th. 7-1 St. Louis. And they're celebrating already. Not too early, girls. Still got a few more innings to go, but it's 7-1 St. Louis.
And it looks like Wainwright's probably, his day is through, or as Zepchinski is thrown in the Cardinal bullpen.
Wainwright did not throw a side session after his last outing. He said that was scheduled. And he's trying to do that this year. There's a lot of talk about lowering the innings of Adam Wainwright, and Waino believes that he'd be much happier with lowering his side sessions between starts.
I kind of like that idea. You know, where
I agree.
A lot of times they say Strasburg, who coming off the Tommy John surgery, they're talking about before the season, oh, he's only going to throw 160 innings. Now that they're doing so well, Washington leading the National League East.
Long one to right. This one's deep. Off the bat of Adams, and it's gone! His first career Major League home run. Matt Adams strikes for the Cardinals here in the sixth.
He had 32 bombs last year, becoming the Texas League Player of the Year and the Cardinal Minor League Player of the Year. And they give him the silent treatment, and now they'll say, welcome to the club.
I love it. Curtain call, perhaps?
Well, you got to have permission for that. And Mike Matheny just told him you can do it.
That was a fun moment right there. Eight to 1 St. Louis. Ground ball up the middle. Tough play for Rollins. Off balance throw. Very good fielder is Jimmy Rollins. He gets double D. It was such a fun moment. I think we're going to just kind of step out and call that our Nissan drive of the game, Al.
And rightfully so. Young man who's from Slippery Rock University, where he gets his first Major League home run. Already got the RBI, got the hit. Chambers now hitting for Wainwright. I think after 6 innings on this type of day, especially after throwing the complete game his last outing, it makes total sense to get Adam out of there and turn it over to the bullpen.
'87 pitches for Wainwright. Following that complete game, 58 for strikes. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. No walks and 2 strikeouts for Waino. Chambers 1 for 5. And now 1 for 6 as he grounds out to Freddie Galvis. Good afternoon for Adam Wainwright. Cardinals have scored 8 runs via the home run. Grand slam for Molina in the first. 3-run shot for Beltran in the 5th, and a solo shot for Matt Adams came here in the 6th. Furcal bounces out. And how do you greet a rookie when he gets his first Major League home run? You ignore him. That's what you do. Younger entering with a ticket can collect a lunch cooler bag. Compliments of Powerade and Stop and Shave. It's the perfect way to kick off your summer. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Matt Adams, the hero of the moment, first major league home run, has extended the Cardinals lead to 8-1. What a thrill for Matt Adams. A couple of changes for the Cardinals. Mark Zepchinski will pitch the 7th, and Adrian Chambers stays in the game, and he'll play left field. The Phillies, Al, in 2011, one of those teams that reached that rare feat of winning 100 games. They won 102 last year, but they lost in the NLDS.
These are the last 5 teams to win at least 100 games. You see the Cardinals on there in 05 and 04. And I guess the curious thing is they all lost. Cardinals did at least lose in the World Series 2004, but that was a good ball club, wasn't it? 105 wins.
Outstanding team.
In the regular season, and they did get to the World Series. And it was unfortunate that outside of St. Louis, they really didn't see the true outstanding team when they got the World Series. They were just absolutely shut down by Boston.
Zepchinski working here in the 7th inning. 1-1 on Mike Fontenot. So Wainwright goes 6. Molina exits the game with dehydration. Holliday exits the game with a sore shoulder. Weather a factor here this afternoon for sure.
Sure, there's a few fans will totally understand the dehydration aspect. Something you really, when you know you're going to be playing on a day like this, it's not just what you do during the game. You've got to start before, particularly the starting pitchers.
I think that ball actually hit. Is that Cole Hamels? It's Chase Utley. That ball, I think, hit Chase Utley. He seems to be okay. That ball went right into the Phillies dugout. Utley traveling with the team, trying to come back from an injury.
I mean, that's pretty. I know Fontenot wants more playing time, but you don't take out one of your star players to try and get that playing time.
That's not really a nice way to do that.
No.
He appears to be okay. He's smiling in the dugout.
He's a tough guy. The art of pitching is to get ahead and then tantalize hitters, changing speeds, throwing the ball out of the strike zone, and have a hitter get himself out.
Placido Polanco, with the afternoon off, will pinch hit here in the 7th inning. Polanco, a veteran hitter and a very good one. Hard hit ball handled by Furcal. He's had a nice day defensively, and he throws out Polanco. Seventh inning, and it's trivia time. Brought to you by AT&T. When was the last 4-game sweep by the Phillies over the Cardinals in St. Louis? And Al, I bet you know the answer.
I know the answer. I heard it driving in back in 1913. I will admit I wasn't sure about the date.
1913. And for folks that may wonder how many times they actually had 4-game series here in St. Louis, you think, well, maybe they didn't play a lot of 4-game series. Well, that's 112 of them, according to Stats Inc.
That's what they say, but first thing that came to both our minds was you play well. How big deal is it? Probably play so few. 4-game series.
Because there aren't very many anymore. But the Phillies and the Cardinals, #1, used to be in the same division.
Used to be in the National League East. And at one time, there was no divisions.
Just the National League. Tough play for Furcal, but he guns out his man. Good inning for Zepchinski. Time to stretch. It's been all St. Louis Cardinals. Fox Ask the Expert chats on FoxSportsMidwest.com. We couldn't find an expert, so I'm going to do it tomorrow afternoon. Ask the Expert at FoxSportsMidwest.com. Looking forward to that. It's always fun to chat with Cardinal fans online, and it's all good news so far this afternoon. 8-1 St. Louis on this Memorial Day weekend. And hope you're enjoying this with your friends and family and being very thoughtful about those who've served and continue to serve our country. Jose Contreras is the 4th Phillies pitcher. 2, 3, and 4 for St. Louis, beginning with Skip Schumacher. Pitcher spot is next, as Adrian Chambers came in to replace Matt Holliday on the pinch hit role, so Shane Robinson will bat for Zepchinski.
Contreras, Cuban defector back in 2002, played 7 years for the Cuban national team, going 117 and 50.
The winner
with 2.82 ERA. He was named Cuba's male athlete of the year 3 times.
Retiring Schumacher.
There's also gold medal winner in 99 Pan Am Games, as he defeated the United States in the finals. He had elbow surgery this past off season and started the season on the disabled list. Contreras, who is now facing the pinch hitter Shane Robinson.
Robinson 4 for 16 as a pinch hitter for St. Louis this year. Take strike 1. We have an Adams jersey at the ballpark.
Hit a home run, you get jersey.
Now
they haven't got the number down yet.
No, they're selling like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's just a Mr. Adams that came to the ballpark. You want to be here in person next time your Cardinals take the field? Just head to StubHub, where it's easy to find the seats you want to see the Cardinals in action all season long. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2 quick outs brings in Carlos Beltran. Homer in the 5th inning broke this game open for St. Louis.
Another 7-game winner in the National League is Dickey. Wins today. Either he threw a shutout or part of a combined shutout, and his record is 7-1 now. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer. The guy that's got no the ligament that you do the Tommy John surgery, a transpose. He was born without that ligament.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, the Mets were not going to sign him. They just said, there's something funny about your elbow. So he went down to see Dr. Andrews, and Dr. Andrews said it was the first time he ever saw someone without that ligament. I guess you don't have to worry about Tommy John surgery.
I guess not. Cardinals probably have to worry about him, and I guess the Cardinals would face him at some time during that series.
Friday night, the first game of that series. I believe he climbed a mountain in the Himalayas this offseason.
I believe he did. You're right. We'll have a lot more interesting things about him when we go to New York. 8-1 is our score here. Long ball here. Pat Perez has a story on some more long balls going on in baseball in our Bommarito Sports Update, Pat. Home runs in that game. How about that? Well, we've had 3 big ones in this game. Molina, Beltran, and Matt Adams. Victor Marte is the new Cardinal reliever, taking over for Zepchinski, who had a scoreless 7th inning. And Shane Robinson will play center field. Schumacher moves from center to right. Cardinals hoping for a happy flight here this afternoon. So far, Mike Matheny pushing all the right buttons, but 6 more outs for the Cardinals to get. The first one, they hope, will be Juan Pierre, who's 1 for 3 with an RBI.
This is the way you like to use your roster.
Exactly.
Have the big lead.
And also the way you like to use your bullpen in particular, Al.
Go out there and guys can have the cushion where they don't feel like every pitch is going to be the outcome. Look at Chambers and you look at Robinson, Cruz. Those guys are just thrilled to death to get in this game, help contribute to a victory. 6 big outs to go. You get a little bit of rest for some of your star players.
Holliday and Beltran get off their feet.
You know, I mean,
hot day.
It's good for Yachty too.
Right. Line drive to center, base hit for Pierre. He stuck his bat out on an 0-2 pitch.
Once again, we talk about you don't want to keep the ball down to him, because even though he does hit it in the air, a good breaking ball, but right off the end of the bat, so it's not going to carry. Been around a long time and done that damage to a lot of people, but you like to elevate the ball and have him hit a little easy fly ball like he did in the first inning off of Wainwright.
9 seasons of 40 or more stolen bases, and he won't be going here. Trailing 8-1.
3-time stolen base champion in the National League. One of the most likable young men in the game. Not a perfect player by any means, but he's a guy that, because of his personality and his class, you know, a lot of clubs want him.
Kind of like you calling him a young man. He's 34. When do you get to stop calling him a young man? What's the cutoff, Al?
In my case, 72.
Okay.
When he gets to 72,
gotcha.
I'll say, well, of course, I'll be 104 then.
Nothing better than Al Hrabosky doing math. Ground ball to the left side. This could be trouble.
With Juan Pierre running, Ralph Furcal had no shot any place, but especially with Pierre running, he didn't have a shot at second.
So here come the Phillies here in the 8th inning. A couple of base hits off of Marte. This one a broken bat that just found a hole. Furcal's been active today.
Yeah, about the time you start thinking, well, let's get Furcal off his feet. You know, now all of a sudden, a couple more hits and a blast, and they're right back in this game. So can't get ahead of yourself.
Cardinals have turned a league-leading 50 double plays.
None today.
Phillies have 1 on the ground, 1 on the long fly ball that Adams hit, where Yadier Molina was doubled off. Both the Phillies and the Cardinals very proficient at turning 2. Furcal and Descalso up the middle for St. Louis, hoping for an opportunity here with Carlos Ruiz at the plate. He's 2 for 3. Ground ball up the middle. Furcal dives for it and flips to Descalso, and they get the runner at second base. What a play that was! Rafael Furcal has been busy, and he has been good here this afternoon. Wow.
Hot day like this, you got to keep your concentration. But look at this effort. Both of them went for it up the middle, and you see Descalso trying to backpedal, trying to get in a position to find the bag where he can't look at it, and also he's staring at the flip from Furcal, and then he's finding the bag with his heel.
I'm not sure who had the tougher play.
They were both pretty interesting, and I like the result.
Outstanding defense up the middle.
I was going to say that double play statistic, you know, for the leader sometimes is a mixed bag. Sometimes it's a really bad pitching staff that gives up so many hits and walks. They create so many opportunities, they just kind of win it by default.
We like that play so much, we're going to show it to you one more time.
Right back over the mounds, the ball, so your second baseman and shortstop both going for it. Furcal gets to it. Now Descalso is trying to backpedal. catch the ball, find the bag without looking either way, and just found it, had his heel on it, and then he sells it to Joe West.
Oh, 2 on Victorino.
Nice promotions this weekend and great crowds.
Ground ball to the right side. Descalzo has it, and he gets the lead runner at second, and it's a good thing because Matt Adams left the bag again at first base, and that may be becoming a problem for Matt Adams. That's the third time he's done that today, and that would have had to be handled by Marte had Descalzo thrown the ball to first base, but he is able to get the lead runner.
Well, he does show his great range. See Adams going out here, and this is at least the third time, but Marte did not hesitate. He broke right for the bag, so if there would have been a return throw, the pitcher would have been covering first base. But you and I have talked about it after the first one. We saw Albert Pujols go so far to his right all the time, and sometimes taking the ball right out of the hands of a second baseman. But I think we'd like to see Adams stay at the bag more. Not always the easiest play for a pitcher, covering first base and trying to step on the bag and catch an errant throw at the same time.
Such a feel thing, too, and he's going to get more and more experience at first base at this level. And I think his first game there was a play where he didn't go for it, Al, and the ball got in the hole, and maybe he just has that in his head because he's going for everything hit to his right now.
And we've seen, you know, already, like what happens on a daily basis, a conversation with Jose Akendo.
No doubt, no doubt.
And Jose working with him on a daily basis. Much more teaching done at this level than ever before.
Matt Adams is teachable as well. He's he's such a nice kid, and we can definitely call him a kid. No doubt about that. Fly ball to center.
You can call him a kid, I'll call him a baby.
Luna is retired. Phillies pick up a run. They still trail the Cardinals by 6, and the Cardinals get some defense here in the 8th. Year from smoking-related illnesses, including cancer, heart disease, and stroke. 10,000 in Missouri alone. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line to quit now. 1-800-QUIT-NOW. 8-2 St. Louis. Raul Valdez played with the Cardinals last year. He will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning for Charlie Manuel.
Picked up 2 wins in this series. We got a win on Thursday and Friday. hitters are just 2 for 20 off him. He was a non-roster invitee to Phillies spring training this year. So now with those 2 victories Thursday and Friday, he's 4-4, one save and 3 opportunities, and a 4.26 ERA in 55 games over his major league career.
Tyler Green pinch hitting for David Freese. Green at 240, 4 homers, 11 RBIs. And Mike Matheny making sure he gets his veteran players, his starters, off their feet in the latter part of this game, as the Cardinals do have a nice 8-2 lead and will be headed to Atlanta.
And what Mike has one more position player on his bench, Stephen Hill, so he could get Furcal out of this game, put Green at shortstop, and have Stephen Hill, who catcher, first baseman, third baseman, corner outfield, and he could go to third base.
Lance Lynn and Tommy Hanson in game 1 on Monday. And Jake Westbrook and Kyle Loesch will finish out the series against the Braves. Cardinals will have to face Tim Hudson in game 3 of that series on Wednesday.
There's Stephen Hill, who a couple years ago got his second major league at bat, hit a home run.
Fastball on the inside corner. Tyler Green strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Second plate appearance for Tony Cruz. He bounced out in the 5th, taking over for Yadier Molina, who left due to dehydration. Shallow center field. This could be a base hit, and it is. Jam shot, but a hit for Tony Cruz. And we should remind Cardinal fans, Al, that if you come to the ball game on a hot day, make sure you hydrate, because if you're thirsty or you start to feel bad, it's probably a little too late.
Good idea.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime. Summer is calling. And by Taco Bell. Liv Moss.
It's a good idea, Ricky. And I know they have a lot of water stations set up throughout the ballpark.
So live Moss and drink Moss.
Kind of remind me of Dodger Stadium when it first opened up. They had no drinking fountains. And finally, I think the health department made them put in about 13 different drinking fountains around the stadium, as people thought that it was a conspiracy to get them to drink more of products that you would purchase at the ballpark. The Cardinals do have many water stations on days like this. See, there they are, right there.
They're listening to you already, Al. That's the kind of pull that you have in this city.
No comment.
Like you said, Mr. Roboski told me to drink some more water, and that's what I'm doing.
Probably Mr. Blah, blah, blah.
Nice afternoon for Matt Adams. 23rd round draft choice for the Cardinals. The average is up to 357.
I say, make it nicer. Another hit.
That ball hit hard to center, right at Victorino. That ball was crushed. Yadier Molina had to leave the game early, but not before he became our Schnucks difference maker, Al, with his grand slam. He also contributed a single.
Grand slam came at the right time. That was in the first inning. His base hit in the 4th, and then later, not that he didn't properly hydrate, but had a problem, had to come out of the game with dehydration.
Strike one to Descalzo, who's 1 for 3.
Can always remember Sunday afternoons, and in my time we've had a lot of double headers. And about the 7th inning of the second game, we'd have to go get Lou Brock.
Where was Lou?
He was up against the wall saying, "Come get me."
St. Louis coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Lil Dunk are standing by. Another sharp outing for Adam Wainwright. They'll break it down. Chris will tell us what we learned this week in Cardinal baseball. Plus, we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game thoughts as well. Chucky Fick on to pitch for the Cardinals. We send it back to the booth and Rick and Al, guys.
Thanks, Kat. Glad you're hydrating here this afternoon, and we appreciate your hard work today. As Jim told us about John Jay and Alan Craig and their rehab status. Chucky Fick, 6'5", 187, 26-year-old, and making his second appearance at the big league level. And Al, what do we know about Chucky Fick?
Well, we know he's a nephew of Robert Fick, longtime major leaguer. His dad is a scout in the Cardinal organization. Saluting another member of the armed forces. He led Memphis and the Pacific Coast League with 16 holds last year in his 54 innings, 54 appearances at Memphis. This year he was used a little bit as a closer, as something as like Sanchez and company came up here. 1-0, 3.86 ERA, 2 saves in 21 games at Memphis.
Kind of an interesting arm angle, too, from Fick. He really throws from 3/4, kind of slings the ball a bit, and talks about that being part of his deception. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but the deception is where he gets his guys off balance. That ball hit hard to center field. Robinson on the move. It's up against the wall. Leadoff double for Freddie Galvis here in the ninth. Glad you're with us on this Memorial Day from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Top of the ninth inning, the Cardinals and the Phillies. Rick Horton, Al Hrabosky, and Jim Hayes with you this afternoon. And we are pleased to be with you and part of your Memorial Day weekend. Cardinals leading 8-2 here today. 3 home runs. Molina, Beltran, and Matt Adams, his first major league home run, the difference in this game. Mike Fontenot is 1 for 3, and he bats against Chucky Fick here in the ninth inning. The Cardinals trying to close this out. and get on a happy flight. That's the plan.
It's always important when you bring these guys up to give them some work, and Vic appeared in last night's ball game. A little different when you're trailing, as opposed to trying to pitch the ninth inning, even when it is an 8-2 lead. These Phillies aren't going to go quietly. They're going to try and hurt you.
Nice to pitch in the ninth, though.
I think it's always important to get young relievers that ninth inning in winning games. It's a pretty neat feeling to be out there and getting those handshakes, and all of a sudden you say, hey, that's a lot of fun. I want to appear in more of these games. And then you kind of figure out how to take that next step.
In games that are closer and closer, 3-1 pitch is a strike. John Mayberry Jr. will pinch hit. He's in the on deck circle. Watchful eye of Derek Lilliquist. Two aboard. Lilliquist to the phone. While he's making that call, we'll tell you our Budweiser player of the game, 87 pitches, is Adam Wainwright.
Standing, chance to win his second consecutive game, be one game under 500. Boggs is throwing. You know, the last thing that Mike Matheny wants to do is have to go to that bullpen, and 6-run lead. You'd like to think you pull anybody out of your bullpen or any pitcher on your staff and protect that lead.
Chucky Fick trying to close it out here in the ninth inning.
Quite frankly, if you can't close it out, you shouldn't be here.
Agreed. A victory for Wainwright would move him to 70-40 on his career. He has been a winner. 3 outs away.
In 09 and 010, he won 29 ball games.
Jam shot up the middle. Out goes Tyler Green, and he makes the play. Tyler runs it down with that good speed.
That's it, and then you slide a little bit so you can stop your momentum going into center field, turn around real quickly, and keep the base runners from advancing. So over the shoulder, just coming in this ball game, sliding in, you could pop up and gave somebody one to advance.
For folks that wonder, that is not an infield fly. It has to be a routine play for an infielder, and that certainly was anything but routine for Tyler Green. Jimmy Rollins is 1 for 4.
Not used to seeing him hit only 223 or 226 right now.
Just 1 home run as well.
Mentioned the 2007 MVP in the National League.
Very steady that year. He ran well. He defended well. I believe he had 20 triples that year. It's an incredible year. Fly ball to center. Robinson eyes it and catches it. Juan Pierre has been a big part of the Phillies offense today. Single and an RBI in the third. He singled, he scored in the 8th. And the Cardinal fans sensing a celebration here this afternoon on Memorial Day.
Cardinals need to win this game to stay a game and a half back of Cincinnati. Won today, 7-5 over Colorado.
Cubs lost their 12th straight. Cardinals looking to break the 4-game Philly winning streak.
There's Garza. Lost for the Cubs. Bedard 1. That would end up 10-4.
Fly ball to center field, and it's going to drop in front of Robinson, and a run is going to score. RBI base hit for Juan Pierre. His third hit of the afternoon. And just like his last hit, Al, he just kind of serves this ball into center field.
And that's it. Mike Matheny's going to go to the bullpen now. But out at the end of the bat, maybe a little bit higher. But off the end of the bat, it's not going to carry. And 2 RBIs for Pierre.
Not done yet. Mitchell Boggs to the mound. Here this afternoon, the Cardinals leading 8-3. A couple of Phillies still aboard as they rally here in the 9th inning, and Mitchell Boggs 21 strikeouts and just 9 walks in his 21 innings.
Come in with men on base. First batter you face is the most important every day. Boggs trying to protect a 1-run lead, allow the tying run to score on the first batter he faced.
Hunter Pence already has 2 hits in this game. Big swing, fouls it straight back.
Fastball right up in his eyes. This year, for whatever reason, it seems like Pence has struggled with being in scoring position. Memory serves me, that wouldn't be typical.
2-time All-Star.
This year, 213 with runners in scoring position. Last year, 339.
Slider, swing and a miss.
And almost 300 for his career. So Boggs, 1 strike away from closing out this victory.
Two and two to Pence. Taking some healthy cuts. against Mitchell Boggs.
Pence doesn't subscribe to that two-strike choke-up. A lot of today's players just stay on down on the knob and swing as hard as they can. 96, running the count full. Base hit now. Could possibly and probably score 2. Outfielders deep.
Boggs is ready. The 3-2. On the ground to the right side. Descalzo has it. Now Matt Adams has it. And the Cardinals have their first victory in this series, avoiding the sweep. Behind Adam Wainwright, they win this one 8-3.
Started out where it looked like it'd be a tough game. Had to do it against Roy Halladay, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, but Yadier Molina got the club going in the right direction with his grand slam. Beltran added the home run. Adams his first career home run. Good game. Happy flight.
11 hits apiece, but the Cardinals with the big ones. The 3 home runs. They win it 8-3. Postgame is next. Stay with us.